Hello everyone, this is Octavius with North American Archery. Thank you so much for tuning into our channel. Today I want to talk to you about how to measure your progress in traditional archery. In traditional archery, it can be very frustrating at times because there's so much to learn. There's so many different ways to do things, and sometimes depending on the season you're in, you could be struggling with your shooting, you could be struggling with your hunting, you could be struggling with your bow setup, your arrow setup, your follow through, your release, your shot process. I mean, there's so many different things and so much bad information out there. But one of the things that I always try to do is I try to find ways to encourage myself throughout the year. So today I want to show you something that I think can help you, no matter if you have tons of experience in traditional archery or you're somebody that's just starting in this phenomenal craft. So stay tuned. I am pretty sure that this is going to help you. Let's do it. All right, guys, today we're going to talk about measuring your progress in traditional archery. How do you do that? The way I do it is going to be different than probably most people out there. The way I do it is I have things in my office or on my wall or on my phone that kind of remind me on how I need to get better throughout the year and push forward and persevere. And I have an acronym for the word professional. Now, for years, professional people have been categorized in our society. No matter where you live in the world, most people think a professional is somebody that gets paid to do said thing. Let's say you're a doctor, do you get paid to do it? A lawyer, do you get paid to do it? An excavator company. Look at this excavator behind me. This is an excavator right here that I am renting from the rental company in town. By me using this does not necessarily make me a professional, but I know how to operate the machine. In order for me to become a professional at this, it has nothing to do with getting paid to do it. It's the way I approach it, okay? I'm about average on every piece of equipment you can think of, from a tractor, a skid loader, a mini excavator, whatever it is that moves dirt. In my life, I've used it for over 25 years. So I know how to use the equipment, but I also got friends of mine that dedicated their life to operating this, and they'll come over to my house and say, oh, that's cute, because they know that I can use it, but it doesn't necessarily make me a professional at this craft, at this skill set. So when you look up the word professional in the dictionary, and I usually use the 1828 dictionary, I've used it for years, professional means it's an adjective pertaining to a profession or to a calling, as professional studies, pursuits, duties, engagements, professional character, or skill. So when it pertains to traditional archery, this is a calling for some of us. Some of us know that we're called to do traditional archery because it calls to us, so we call to it. Then when it comes to your studies, well, we study a lot in traditional archery. That's how you get better. You look at YouTube videos, you read books, you go to seminars, you go to get a part of a shooting club, you go to 3D tournaments, go to competitions, you get a shooting coach. All these things matter. So you study in this to get better. Your pursuits, we pursue it. We have a duty to it. We have to pass it down to the next generation. Our engagements, we engage in different activities to get better and to achieve what our goals are year to year, month to month, week to week, day to day. And it's a professional character or a skill. So we have a character about us. Traditional archers have a certain way about them that is intriguing to those, even in the archery community. Sometimes we can snub our nose to other people, like let's say they use a compound bow or a actual some other type of way, like a crossbow. Right? Those are the two things that sometimes we snub our nose to, crossbow or to a compound bow. However, we still have a character about us. There's a pureness to what we do. And also the skill. This is what makes a professional. You know that it takes skill. You have a skill set that a lot of people don't have. And that's what we have in traditional archery. So I've taken professional and I made it into an acronym. And the acronym means that every single letter stands for something so I can encourage myself throughout the year. So I'm hoping this helps you. Stay engaged, because I think that if you write these things down or you watch this video over and over and over again, you will understand that there's a certain way to encourage yourself without having to go out in the backyard and shoot every single day and get discouraged if you're not shifting. Okay, you can look at this acronym and you can say, hey, I might have shooting slumps and my skill set's not shifting, maybe my attitude's not shifting over to where it needs to be, but I know now that if I look at this board, if I look at this sheet, if I look at this video, it's going to encourage me that it takes a process to become a professional in traditional archery. So P, practice. Practice. Am I practicing all year or when I have to? That's critical. Am I practicing all year or when I have to means if I'm out here and I only practice when I have to go hunting, or I have to go to a competition, or I have to just go to on a trip, and now everybody wants to shoot the bows at a 3D range, that is not going to get it done. So I need to make sure I practice all year. R, routine. Does my routine keep a bow in my hand or on a rack? Your routine is your schedule. What is your life encompassing? Do you set time aside to shoot your traditional bow? Do you have a routine that you shoot throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year? Routine is critical, because if you don't have the right routine, you don't have the right habits. If you don't have the right habits, you're not going to be able to get better in traditional archery. Even if you're somebody who's been shooting for years and years and years, if you don't have the right routine, you're not going to be able to maintain the skill set that you've gotten over the years. This is not like riding a bike. This is actually more like a skilled trade. If you don't do excavating for years, you don't just jump on this excavator and all of a sudden be as good as you were 5 years ago. You're going to have a couple of weeks or a couple of months to get back to where you were at. Off season for O. Do I have an off-season improvement plan in place? Is there something in place where you are continuously improving in the off-season from your 3D tournaments, hunting, whatever your off-season is there a regimen that you follow in order to get better in traditional archery? I have an off-season plan, and you should as well. Fruit. Am I harvesting animals and winning competitions? That's what fruit means. It's something that you can pick at the end of your journey. I have the deer on the ground. I have the elk on the ground. I have won a competition, or I means that I maybe not win the competition, but I'm placing a lot better than I did last year or last week or last month. It's goals that are now manifested in your life, and now you have fruit that you can eat and move on, and it nourishes you so you can get better in traditional archery. E, exercise. Am I committed to maintain my health, or I hope it works out? That is so critical. Health is so critical. Exercise, getting in shape. A lot of guys can't go out west and hunt because they are not in shape to do that. A lot of guys can't go 3D shooting because they're not in shape to do that. A lot of guys can't pull a bow back anymore because they have injuries in their body, and I understand that, because as we age, we get more and more injuries, more and more things happen to us. I completely understand that. I have a lot of friends in traditional archery that are a lot older than me. However, if we don't start now, we're going to have more and more issues if we don't get better at taking care of our health, taking care of our mental health, and our physical health is one and the same almost. However, if I work and I exercise every week and I eat right, it's going to most of the time prolong some issues that we'll have that'll keep us away from traditional archery, as well as hunting in general. My father-in-law is a lot older than me, and he has had to cut back on what he eats and what he does with his body. He has to exercise. He has a plan in place so that he can do this long term, where when he was my age, he didn't do that. And so now he regretted it, but he was able to turn it around, and now we go hunting every year together, and it's magnificent. So you can do it no matter what age you are. You can start right now. S, shooting. Is my shooting steadily improving? Am I steadily seeing improvement in my shooting? If I'm not seeing that throughout the year, then I need to find ways to put things in my practice regimen, what I read, what I watch, what I study, in order to make sure my shooting is improving. I don't want to stay at the same spot year to year. I want to get better. There's always room for improvement in your shooting, and you guys know that. The other S, stress levels. Is archery still a stress reliever for me? Okay, is archery still a stress reliever for you? It should be a stress reliever for us when we go out and shoot our traditional bows, when we go out hunting, when we go out in the great outdoors. And if it's no longer a stress reliever, why is that? That's something that we need to always maintain, is say, hey, I always had stress being relieved when I went out with my traditional equipment. Now let me look at this and see why it's changed. It may be because you're not allowing your mind to be clear anymore. You're putting all the cares of this world, money, family issues, your job, whatever, in the way where you need to set that down and go out and enjoy traditional archery. I, intentions. What is my intended purpose? What is your intended purpose in traditional archery? What is my intended purpose in traditional archery? See, my purpose is that it connects me with God. It connects me with the great outdoors. It connects me with who I really am as a man, which is a man of patience, kindness, faithfulness, goodness, self-control. I want to go out and have something that connects me to something that takes a commitment, a long-term commitment, not instant gratification. And so I'm willing to go through that process. So my intended purpose is to commit to something that makes me a better man overall. And for me, traditional archery does that. What is your intended purpose? Oh, ownership. Am I owning my mistakes, or am I making excuses? I always ask myself that. Am I owning up to the mistakes I'm making in the field when I'm hunting, when I'm shooting? Why am I missing the target all the way at 25 yards? Am I focusing on my spot? Or am I just gonna say, it's not focused on the spot, it's my bow? Whatever it is, there's always ways that you can make excuses, but realistically, we have to spend the time in the field making sure our equipment's right, making sure everything's dialed in and tuned up. And if we own the mistakes we've made while hunting, while shooting, while in competition, okay, then we're gonna be a better archer, and we're gonna be better long term. N, nerves. Do I keep my cool in pressure situation, or am I falling apart? There's been so many times where I've been in a pressure situation with a big game animal and I fell apart. I was literally like, why did I fall apart in that situation? Because I didn't keep my nerves in order. You can practice all you want in the backyard. You can do whatever you want to do. And it's a simulated situation. But when that elk, when that deer, when that bear, when that hog steps in front of you in that shooting lane, you have to block everything out, and you have to make it happen. If you're in a competition and you're going against other competitors on the range, or in a 3D tournament, you have to block everything else out and focus on what you're doing. But sometimes we let all this other stuff in, fear of failure, and then all of a sudden now we end up succumbing to our adrenaline, and we miss what we're looking at. So nerves, do I keep my cool under pressure? I have to do that. A, awareness. Am I aware of where I'm at, or I'm in denial right now? So where am I at in traditional archery? Am I where I want to be? Never, right? So I need to be aware of where I'm at, and am I reaching my goals from year to year, okay? And then the last one, longevity. Long-term commitment, or am I feeling like I'm going to quit? That's what L is, longevity. Am I in it for the long term, or am I gonna quit, or I feel like I'm gonna quit? Guys, this is so essential. I'm trying to give you something that I've done personally in my own life of coming up with an acronym that's going to help me become a professional, have a skill set, understand that I'm committed long term to this great craft, which is traditional archery. So I hope this helps you. I know this is something that most people don't share, but I believe that if you implement this in your archery journey, you not only will feel like you're getting better from year to year, you will feel like you're a professional at traditional archery. Doesn't mean you get paid to do it. You're not on TV. I've seen guys that are professional archers setting up traditional bows in archery shops, and they don't know what they're doing. Okay? And I have to say, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Right? Because they don't really know. They just set up a bunch of bows and they get paid to do that, but it's not really what the person needs. 400 spine for you. No, that doesn't mean that that person, everybody in here gets a 400 spined arrow. You know, I've seen that, right? So, you know, you got to understand that there's levels to this. And just because somebody is getting paid in a archery shop, okay, to be a professional bow tuner, or they're getting paid to go out hunting, does not mean they're a professional through and through. It just means they get paid to do it. Now, a lot of times when you are a professional, it leads to getting paid, and that's something that a lot of us will end up experiencing before it's all over with. However, that is not the way that you describe, like we've said in this video, of being a professional. All right, guys, I hope this video helps you. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions. Continue to turn on your post notifications. And remember this, you don't have to get ready when you stay ready. All right, guys, stay on the saddle. Hang in there, partner.